Welcome, 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 Animation Club School. I'm Kata, your favorite and only host for our workshops. So today we will actually tackle one of our submitted topics, submitted by you actually, on fabrics. How to animate fabrics, how would fabrics react to different kinds of movement, and how can we show that difference in the material?
Today we're gonna make some wind animation, let's say, that's gonna affect some fabric and maybe some fur as well. So let's see. I wanted to make this workshop because I see a lot of problems in my students' works when they don't understand how the wind works actually, how it goes through the character, through the cloth. And yeah, so we're gonna make it just like representation of how it works usually, what to think of. All right, so basically what we're gonna start today from what? Usually when you like if you want to make some wind passing through some like your character, etc. First of all, you have to imagine the wind, the nature of the wind. I would say the character. Right. For example, the wind can be slow, can be very like very calm, or can be very aggressive, like a storm wind, or can change the mood. You know, sometimes there is some days that you have some crazy wind. Like sometimes it's very fast, sometimes it's not, and just you just don't understand like how to adapt, etc. So you have to understand how it's gonna blow. And also remember, because the wind doesn't blow like a fan all the time, right? Like it's just constant blowing. Wind can come and pass. Fabric will move with the same timing as the wind. So I'm trying always to think and look and overall shape and position of the cape, for example, because it's not only about that. It's about the whole fabric when it moves. Because, for example, when there is wind that pulls the fabric too much, this thing will be more tight, right? And it's gonna go up because the lowest part was pulled, right? That's why everything goes kind of behind, and it's affect everything. That's why it's important. And also here, when the whole fabric start to go like on overlap, I do straight ahead because the wind is kind of part of the special effects, let's say. It's just the wind overlaps, etc. We do straight ahead after the character, the body animation is done. You have to remember as well that when the wind blows, it doesn't go straight to the cape. Actually, at first it hits the body, and depend of the parts that hides behind some pieces, like parts of the body, the wind can be basically blocked, right? And you have to remember that you don't animate your cape, for example, independently from the character. Even the character is not moving. You have to think, like, again, like I said from the beginning, you have to think this part because it's a kind of root of the fabric, and you have to also try to think as one piece how it moves together, and the same the character that blocks and etc etc. So basically here this movement is a little bit complicated, and I don't want to draw it right away. I just want to understand what the roots are and how it's gonna behave in the roots, for example, and then how it's gonna be in the tips of the cape. So basically, first of all, I will do this because roots are important. Remember that. So now I cannot just go back, like make in between straight ahead. I think I will do some arc. I'm gonna make animation a little bit more volumetric. It's gonna add some magic. And now go straight in between.
It's fun how this little hole on the bottom of the coat is a really like good element to show how the coat curves, like how it appears to the camera, because the distance between the distance and the way it's like
Yes.
angled, you can do a lot of nuances with like little details like these.
Yeah, exactly. For example, take a timer and imagine on yourself by your movement how different sizes and weight fabrics can work. For example, some like normal fabric like tissue, or something like heavy like leather, and just by yourself make some kind of effort by acting it, you will also understand. And also if you record some reference, you see the timing, you see the you will understand more the timing of some natural things, right? For example, because people sometimes just put timing and they don't understand what the difference between like lower or faster. They just put everything maybe too fast or too slow, and by that, with this exercise, you can basically maybe understand better. What you have to remember when you do some kind of exercise like that, first of all, volume and nice, let's say, posing of the cape, right? Find some interesting solution with the folds, and do not just do these movements. Second, it's a rhythm, right? Like that's why I did some arrows and make some poses, etc. And three, it's to draw the whole volume, right, of the cape, right, with the pin, etc. And think about how the wind will react with the body.
Whether you're a newbie or a seasoned pro looking to refine your skills, you need to learn the magic of character acting to become great. Acting is the secret sauce of great animation. That's where the Acting in Traditional 2D Animation course comes in. This course is your roadmap to making your work unforgettable. Don't let your animation dreams sit on the back burner. Head to animationclub.school/courses to sign up today. Let's create something extraordinary together.